I remember my family, my father and my mother.
I was actually getting work as a screenwriter in Hollywood and had some deals at 20th Century Fox and had an agent. To me, I didn't like all this garbage that I was writing, and I wanted to do something that I knew was relevant, that meant something to me. At the time that we made El Norte, studios weren't making films about Mayan refugees. I was from the border. I'd seen this situation. There were deportations in the 1930s. Between 1 and 2 million people of Mexican background were forcibly deported by the government of the United States because they were trying to create jobs for what they called real Americans during the Depression. And one of the people that was deported was my grandfather, and my family was ripped apart. I sent the script around, and I got the worst letters of rejection. They are painful. They are horrible. People hated that script.
So I'll give you permission today, just today, to say anything you want to me.
I gave those letters to the Academy Archive because El Norte was nominated for the Academy Award, the screenplay.
Al Norte.
El Norte.
You got to learn to take rejection, and some of it's pretty rough. And finally, this TV producer said, you know, I think we can do this as a movie for TV, but you got to cast Robbie Benson and Brooke Shields. I said to myself, well, you know what? I would rather not make the movie than make it wrong. Because if I make this movie with Brooke Shields, it'll be an insult. So I walked out of the room thinking I would never make El Norte. And that is when Lindsay Law asked to see the script from American Playhouse, which was a new program. And he gave us very little money. We made the movie for almost no money. But it's better to do it for less with a small crew of 5 people and a couple $100,000 and make it right. At that time, we were starting the American independent film movement. We're trying to create something, even though we had no financing. So many filmmakers came out of that movement. And I still consider myself to be an independent filmmaker, not a Hollywood filmmaker. The last 10 years have been disastrous for Latino filmmakers. You know, the Annenberg put out that report last year, and it was the erasure of Latinos in front of and behind the camera. I dealt with that in Mi Familia. Jennifer Lopez, she was auditioning and people didn't want to cast her. And the reason they didn't want to cast Jennifer wasn't that she wasn't good and beautiful, is that she was too good and too beautiful. And they didn't want the Latina friend to be better and more beautiful than the blonde lead, you know? And Jennifer couldn't get a part because Jennifer's a star. After that, we made Selena, and you know, the rest is history. Because research is the key to my films and the research that I do. Doing Selena, I did these very in-depth interviews with everybody.
Selena, what are you doing here? I'm looking up at the moon, and I'm dreaming.
And I still have those tapes, hundreds of hours of tapes. I really believe in that. I'm writing this thing, and Chris Perez, Selena's husband, he says, you know, do you want me to tell you what really happened? The whole family thinks I am the one that talked Selena into eloping. I'm the bad guy, but it isn't true. I was in the hotel room, and there was a knock on the door, and he proceeds to tell me the whole scene, and it came out of him like it just had happened. Abraham, when he read the script, he had a fit, and he was going to stop the whole movie.
I'm not going to stop seeing him dead.
I'm not going to have this in my family.
But I don't want little girls to think they can disobey their father. And I said, no, but it's not that, Abraham. It's that all young women have to break away. They have to find their own independence. And that's what Selena was doing. She's becoming her own independent person. Every single movie I make, it's like I feel like I'm beating the door down. And I think that the door is now open. But then it immediately gets shut behind me. You're going to have the shit kicked out of you. And you just got to learn to keep going and not give up. I want the door to stay open. We have earned our place at the table, sick and tired of us being denied. And that's what I want my legacy to be, and that's what I want for my community.
My Family. Directed by Gregory Nava.